On this week's show, we're talking the best in video games for 2018. We investigate just how good or bad is Holmes and Watson, and what do we think? And another voice from the underground shouts out his top 5 of 2018. All this and more as we reach our all this and more for the 100th time as we reach our next stop, the PCC Multiverse. And we're back with another episode of the PCC Multiverse. My name is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. We truly appreciate everyone out there listening to all of our programs. But it wouldn't be a PCC Multiverse without my good friend. He is the racing aficionado of Humanica Media. You gotta check out everything today at humanicamedia.com, Humanica Media on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and so much more. It is my good friend. It is Josh Peterson. Vroom vroom, man. We're at 100 episodes and going strong.
Vroom vroom. Just gotta look out for those walls, Left turns. Gotta do all those left turns, man.
That's the way they do it in NASCAR, my friend. 100, like I said, 100 laps down and so many more to go until the finish line for us right here on the multiverse. And we cannot thank you enough. And my good friend Josh, I cannot thank you enough as well. And everyone out there listening, just truly appreciate you hanging out with us every Friday and the weekend when it comes to the PCC multiverse. But it is going to be a great episode we have for you today. We have Haas, the man, the myth, the legend himself from the voice from the underground. He's going to shout out his top 5 in pop culture. Plus, we are also going to talk about I don't know if it's the good news or the bad news when it comes to Holmes and Watson, the latest movie from the comedy team of Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly. Has it been playing out so far well? Has it been playing out well so far since its Christmas release? We're going to give our thoughts on it and a lot more. But first, we've got a lot to talk about with video games. And in fact, you've got a special deal when it comes to video games, when it comes to Vitabrace from our friends at Miracle Fruit Oil, do you not?
Yeah, so as you guys know, Miracle Fruit Oil's Vitabrace High Performance Gaming Wristband is something we like to push heavily on this show. So I wasn't sure if I was going to sneeze or not. So now we have a deal going with them where if you buy a Vitabrace using the promo code, hold on, you're gonna have to edit this out. What was the promo code?
I don't remember my own commercial. Hold on.
It's on here.
Oh, gosh. I don't know how you deal with you sometimes. I tell you. And we got people watching now. There's a viewer watching now. We're going to embarrass ourselves like this. Oh my gosh. This is going to be on the cutting room floor, just to let you know out there. That's whoever's watching. So, and we appreciate you watching, by the way. Thank you so much for doing so. All right. Let me. Yes. So, got to go look. What I'm looking for right now is the Vitabrace promo to figure out the exact.
Media 10 found
Media 10. Okay, found it. Okay, it's Media 10. Okay, good.
All right.
Good. So if you're asking me to look through 1,000 files, it's kind of tough.
That's a lot there. So if you go on www.miraclefruitoil.com and purchase a Vitabrace High Performance Gaming Wristband using the code Media10 at checkout, not only will you get $10 off your very own Vitabrace High Performance Gaming Wristband, you will also get a free game, a free code for a free game. That's right.
And that's Steam, right?
And that's on Steam.
Well, that's awesome. I think, like you said, first off, it's going to be a Sonic game, and then we go from there, correct?
Correct. It will be a Sonic game. This month, it's a Sonic game. So if you want one of the many great classic Sonic games starring our favorite Blue Hedgehog, go ahead and go on over to www.miraclefruitoil.com and purchase a Vitabrace High Performance Gaming Wristband. Once again, using the code Media10 at checkout, and then we will send you a free game.
That's awesome. And you save money as well off of it, correct? When you use Media 10.
When you use Media 10, you get $10 off.
That is an amazing deal for a gaming bracelet that's going to help your performance as far as everything when you're out there playing Fortnite, when you're playing multiplayer games, or even when you're going ahead and tackle on that challenging campaign or that nice platformer that's driving you nuts. Vitabrace lets help gives you the help you need as far as your wrists and your fingers and your mobility is concerned. Just really helps it out. A lot of people were trying it out at our recent holiday game night. I'll tell you what, it is definitely worth it. Media 10, check that out today. Use that code at www.miraclefruitoil. Just go to Vibrace, order one, and code Media 10. Anything else?
Oh, that's it. You covered everything right there. So we're good. We're solid. Definitely check it out. We'll give you a free game. You won't regret it. You'll have great circulation and another Sonic game for the collection. So definitely check that out.
Check that out indeed. But like I said, this is going to be a great episode we have here today. But I'll tell you what, man, we're here to talk video games right now on the front end of the show. So, my friend, we're talking the best video games of 2018. You are the man in the know when it comes to the video game scene out there. Of course, I've done a little bit of video gaming myself over the years. So, yes, I know a little bit too from time and now. 2018
Are
was
you talking like Dig Dug and Galaga, or that was a joke about you being old? So
Yeah, I know. Well, let's just, bring out the Pong. I am going to go ahead and meet the guys making the large Atari Pong table at CES. I will let you know right now. I already have a meeting set up with them, so I will be sharing my fond memories of Pong when I hit that booth come CES. But getting back to the best games of 2018, tell you what, this was a pretty good year. There was a lot of great candidates out there for Game of the Year for 2018. Josh, when it comes right down to it, what are some of the first thoughts you had when you were thinking about some of the best games of 2018?
well, I got my top 10 here. You want to hear them?
Well, in detail, yes, but break it down one by one. What is the first one that came to your mind? Not the top one, of course. You want to save that for suspense for last. But when it comes, yeah, let's go for number 10. What comes to mind when it comes to a number 10 is concerned?
Okay, so keep in mind that I did not play all the games that I wanted to. There are far too many games, not enough time, and I need to sleep eventually. So I missed out on a few I really wanted to play. So here's my number 10. I got Spyro Reignited. Did you play that on PlayStation ever?
Yeah,
The
wait,
original?
the original, of course. Yeah, I mean, Spyro itself has a long history with the PlayStation, and you know what? I'll tell you what, and I'll tell you what, it's just something that a lot of people enjoyed at the time, and to have it reimagined in such a grand fashion was a brilliant stroke by PlayStation and everyone out there as far as to bringing that wonderful character back to life in that pretty good platformer. Not really one of my favorites, but still a pretty good platformer nonetheless.
Well, here's the thing. When I first heard that they were re-releasing it, they're talking about the Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy came out, and everyone's like, "Oh, hey, I wonder if we're ever going to see Spyro." And then lo and behold, 3 months later, we got a Spyro announcement. I saw footage of it at E3 and I was stoked on life because it is a very beautiful remaster. But, I popped it into my Xbox, and while I did love going back to the Dragon World, it just made me realize that I am not coordinated enough to play this game as an adult. And it's just the camera manipulation is I can't keep up with it, and, like, I'm sitting there trying to, like, takes a long time to get used to. I'm trying to make Spyro run into things and do the flame, and I know there's an achievement for what's that second world in the first Spyro where the frog guys the Norks go and run into the tents, and when
Yeah,
you
yeah, I
storm the
remember that.
tents, they're mooning you, and you get an achievement if you, like, light their bare butts on fire, and I kept trying to do that, but I couldn't manipulate the camera fast enough to do it, so I finally just gave up on it, but
There's a joke in there somewhere, but I won't mention where.
Okay, so Spyro is fun. Did not finish it yet. It's one of those games I'm gonna keep going back to because keep in mind there's 3 Spyro games on there, and as much as I love Spyro, I can't.
It's a great value for anyone out there that wants to go back and relive those days and check out a great game, great 3 games from Spiral.
Oh yeah, well it's only $40, so you can't go wrong there for 3 games.
So what else is on your mind, man, when it comes to number 9 on your list for the best games in 2018?
Okay, so number 9, I got Sea of Thieves. I know I had tried to get you to play with us once, but I think you had something, or you installed it, and then we just couldn't make our schedules match up or something.
And I played it. I did that one. I did go ahead and take a look at and play a couple hours of. And I'll tell you what, it's just something that is there. It's kind of the concept is cool, but I think what kept a lot of people from really staying with it is the fact that the world itself is just not that enjoyable, not that immersive, and it just does not bring out enough challenges to the players out there. In fact, a lot of it was just exploring and scavenging the high seas, and pretty much that was it. And just there needed to be something more, I think, to bring a connect to me and a lot of other players out there. And I think that's why it did not hit on a level that Microsoft was hoping it would be.
Well, Gerald, Commodore of Pop Culture Cosmos, let me tell you a little bit something about Sea of Thieves here.
Commodore, I like that. Commodore.
So my big complaint with Sea of Thieves, fun game. You know, ever since I was a kid, I always wanted a pirate game that I could jump on and play with my friends. You know, we have our boat, scour the seven seas or one sea in this case, and just have hours of piratey fun on there. And then this game came along, and it was fun. It's fun for the first like 5 or 6 hours you play because you know you're looking for treasure, you're doing missions, you're fighting ghost pirates, and you're drinking booze on your boat and throwing up on the guy driving. Always a good time. But the thing that this game lacks is a progression system, and for that reason, it feels kind of pointless. And my other big complaint about it is that it is basically a haven for trolls. So they don't your boat, you can't, once you die, you can't go back to port unless your boat sinks. And we had this case, me and Big Dog and Brian Kane from Topic Ocalypse had this night where we were all playing, and these guys were like launching themselves onto our ship, and they would not let the boat sink, and they knew where all the spawn points were on the boat. So every time we came back to life, they kept killing us over and over. Like it was funny to them. Like we spent 10 minutes trying to figure out how to get them away, and then finally we just quit the game, I guess rage quit in a way. So that was not fun. And then there's a point where we were fighting the Kraken, and then instead of killing the Kraken, all the other boats on the game started shooting at us. So that was also not fun. So I probably won't be going back to that one. So that's my number 9. Play it, don't play it. You're not really missing out on anything.
Number 8, my friend. Number
Number
8.
number 8, I got Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. So not a lot to say about this that hasn't already been said, about Pokemon games. It's basically a remake of Pokemon Yellow. The colors are beautiful. I love the new animations. It's funny, there's a lot of stuff in there that's kind of dirty that you don't pick up on as a kid, but now I go back through and I pick up on it as an adult and I'm like, "Oh, that's kind of pervy." Like all the when you go into Mount Moon and you fight all the big fat hikers, some of their dialogue is crazy pervy, and you just don't notice it because you're a kid, but then I go back as an adult, and I'm like, "Oh, I probably shouldn't say that in a real world setting." But no, it was fun. I like the different mechanics. I like the way you could have Pokemon follow you around. You could fly around places. All the battles are there, all the dungeons, all the gym masters and the Elite Four. And I love the way that they create a game within the Pokemon mythology that you can play along and do. You're not red and blue like in the originals, but you're following in their footsteps. They do exist in this universe. So they kind of tied it in without making it like a game within the greater mythology of Pokemon. And I love the system of no more random battle encounters. So anytime you want to fight a Pokemon, they're walking around, so you can choose to avoid them, and your whole team levels up when you catch one. So love what they did there with the experience points. Your daughters are playing it. What do they think of it?
My youngest daughter really enjoys it. My older daughter gets a chance to play it every now and then, but for the most part, my youngest does play it the majority of the time. And I'll tell you what, she absolutely loves playing Eevee and just says nothing but great things about it. So she really is enthralled by it. She made a big purchase. This was a big purchase for her when she went ahead and bought it with with her money. And she just went ahead and she really has dived into it and she really enjoys it thoroughly. And I'm happy for her that the time she gets to spend on the Switch is spent on Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, and she really enjoys it. And the fact that she gets her sister involved with it too, and they interact and they talk Pokemon, with only that language can allow. I'll tell you what, it just is truly the it brings them together, and that's what really counts from time to time. But for the most part, my youngest does play the majority of it, but she thoroughly enjoys Pokemon Let's Go Eevee.
Yeah, they've done a good job with this franchise of kind of reaching across the generations. Like, look at what Pokemon Go did. It brought all kinds of people together in a way that, Fortnite is kind of doing now. But yeah, it's interesting because even after all these years, what it came out when I was in the third grade, I want to say, and it's still relevant. Kids are still playing it at the same age I was when I started playing it. So, um, definitely a franchise I don't see going anywhere soon as long as it's on the Nintendo Switch, I think that it does have a very bright future.
Number 7 on your list, my friend. What is number 7 on your list?
Alright, at number 7 is a game we have talked about, a game I got a review code for, Battle Princess Madeline. So this is one of those games that, um, it's kind of a retro looking game, and it's supposed to be punishing like those old retro arcade games. Kind of platformer, kind of a, role-playing game, little mix of both, but I love how it's so crazy difficult, but the feeling you get when you finish the game, it's unlike anything I've experienced in a long time, and that might be kind of a sad fact, but, I love what they did with the color shades and the way the screen lights up, and it's just a fun game because even in the dungeons, you have, like, your first boss is a giant skeleton that does this, like, weird dance, and there's never, even in its frustrating moments, there's still something that's cool about it, it's not something that you wanna rage quit and throw a controller at a wall after, it's a very, well put together game, not really for your casual gamer, but if you're a fan and you grew up in the '80s and early '90s, got to hang out in arcades, like, this is a game I would definitely recommend.
When you had that feeling of accomplishment, I mean, how was it when you actually reached the boss or past that certain level which you've tried so many times to complete? What was that feeling of accomplishment like?
It was kinda like, when I was a kid, I spent like, I was really bad at video games as a kid, and, like, Sonic the Hedgehog was my first one. And, when I got to the last level on Sonic the Hedgehog after spending hours and hours, because you don't have save points, so you don't really like you get a game over and you start from back at Emerald Hill Zone. So you don't get to go right back to the seventh or eighth zone as you were in before. So when I finally got to the end of that game and I beat Dr. Robotnik, like I honestly felt like I could do anything. I could take on any game. Like I was uh I could go out and I could slay 100 dragons or something. So, yeah, it was cool. It felt great, and it's a feeling beating that game was a feeling that I haven't had since I was, like, 6. So, you can check out my review on www.popculturecosmos.com, but, definitely pick it up, and I think it came out on Switch last week, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe it did as well. Yes, I think you're correct on that. And well, I will say this. You said you were bad at video games. This comes from the man who has Mario as a shirt right now. So, be that as it may. You love video games.
I love video games. It took a lot of practice and a lot of failure, and I still die a lot at video games. That's why I don't do multiplayer games because I can bask in my own shame in seclusion.
Well, I know I have my little corner of the universe that people have saved up with quarters over the years that I spent on so many quarters because I wasn't exactly the best at video games either. But back to the arcade I went. But need I digress on that either? All right, my friend. What's your number six? Oh, all right, my friend. What's your number 6 on your list of the best games of 2018?
Okay, keep in mind, a lot of these I wrote reviews for, and you can check them out on our website. My number 6 is Faye, and absolutely hate how people always want to correct me when I talk about this game. They go, "It's pronounced fee." That bothers me because you don't know that. How do you know? Do they talk to the developers? Who knows? Is it Akuna Matata or is it Akuta Matata? We don't know, right? So, anyways, Faye is a fun game. Colors are very unique design, and the soundtrack is really cool. And it's basically you're playing. What do I say? Like a mixture of Avatar and Bambi. So you're like trying to save all these creatures, and you're saving the deer, and you're just a little fox, And like the game is not too difficult, and there's the story doesn't really connect well. I see what they tried to do, but it doesn't have a lot of dialogue, so it's hard to get. But it's a pretty big open world for a $30 game, and there's the mechanics where you try to reach out and talk to the animals is pretty cool, and you gain a lot of skills, and there's a lot of stuff to go back to after you play the game. So not a lot of depth to this game. Easy to play if you're just looking for something casual to play on an airplane or a bus or something. Phase definitely something you should check out. Did you ever get a chance to play that?
Yeah, I did. I saw quite a bit of it, and I'll tell you what, it is definitely out there. I do like. I agree with such as you that it didn't have a complete story as far as the bits and pieces that were thrown at you like breadcrumbs. I could have done without that. I could have actually been enticed more and been drawn in more if it was a deeper, rich story involved. I think if you're going to do that, you might as well go all the way with it. But unfortunately, it didn't. But I can see your issues with the game when it comes to that, as far as the story is concerned.
All right, cool. So at number 5, I
Well,
got
hold on.
what's up?
Okay, because I'm going to go ahead and break in here.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
Well, that's your first. Well, that's your bottom five on your top 10 list for video games of 2018. Coming up right after the break will be your top five video games of 2018. Plus, I'll throw in a couple more as well. This is the PCC Multiverse. And we're back with the show. Once again, it's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here, along with my good friend Josh Peterson, as he breaks down his top five of 2018 when it comes to the world of video games. Just to let you know as well, I played two excellent games that are not going to be on his list because he didn't get a chance to try them. Omen Sight is a really solid game, and I hope people will give that one a try. I really think they should. Omen Sight, there is now a definitive edition now available on Switch, so I want to give that a shout out. Gave that a, I'm giving that a pretty. I gave that a pretty solid review. I also want to mention as well Coffee Crisis, which I had a ton of fun. So did my daughters playing Coffee Crisis as well on the Nintendo Switch. We got review codes for both, and I will tell you of the two, Coffee Crisis was a lot of fun, and I also recommend Omen Sight as well. So, getting back to your list, my friend, what is number five on your top five video games? Well, on your top video games of 2018.
At number 5, I actually got Far Cry 5. This was an interesting game, despite all the controversy it had surrounding it. It was a lot of fun. Like the world was a lot more open than I thought it would be. The game wasn't, the other Far Cry games, while they're pretty open world, they're sort of linear in what you can do. This game, you go anywhere. There's side quests galore. It's got some comedy aspects to it, like the guy that gets abducted by aliens, and then you get the ray gun. And the environment is always trying to kill you, and that's something that I haven't ever seen in a game before. And as for the story, what's really cool about it is that the whole idea of like someone taking over a land, a cult, a religious cult that revolves around drugs and people being brainwashed, like that stuff. It actually happens. There's a documentary about it on Netflix. I forget what it's called, but like these people actually took over a town in Montana, I want to say, but
Pop Culture Cosmos?
right, pop culture cult mos. Anyways, um, you'll have to put
Wah,
a
wah, wah, wah.
yeah, you have to put a sound effect there. Anyways, yeah, no, it was good, and like I do wanna. I haven't quite finished the game yet. It's still on my shelf. There's just been too many other games I want to play, but no, the story's good. The game is cool. It's fun. There's the first person shooter elements of it are not ridiculously hard to get used to, and you just go around, a lot to explore. The characters are engaging. You actually want to go around and do the side quests because it helps bring the community together, and like they actually motivate you to go and see what this world has to offer. And it was an experience that I never thought I'd be able to have with a Far Cry game. So I'm definitely excited to get back to. And I know there's a sequel coming out next year.
And that's exactly what I wanted to ask you. I mean, what are your thoughts on now having to go ahead and play in 2019 Far Cry New Dawn, which takes place in the same area, but about what, 17 years, I think, after the actual events that take place in Far Cry 5, after a nuclear holocaust or something like that, in a, guess what? A post apocalyptic world, my friend, a post apocalyptic world. in Far Cry? Does this interest in you, or is this just way too much borderlining on what we've already seen from Fallout?
Well, here's the thing. Fallout 76 is already tanked or tanking still. And I don't think that there's much that Far Cry can do that is going to put it beneath Fallout 76. So I mean, I'm down for playing. I don't imagine it's going to be a really long game, and I think the reason, or how they're able to put out a sequel that fast is just revolves around the fact that all the elements of the game were already made. You know, you had that world already created. All they were really doing were putting some, more post-apocalyptic stuff into it. And by the looks of it, it looks like the main baddie from the last game, Joseph's still alive. So it'll be interesting to see what characters carry over, what happened, who these new characters are, how it all ties together. But after this, I'm predicting we're not going to see another Far Cry for at least 4 years.
I agree with you on that. The reason why is because they're calling this not a standalone DLC, not a DLC, but an actual second game in the series as far as one coming out 1 year, this coming out the exact next year. And Far Cry, I like you, I don't think should come out on a yearly iteration basis. This leads us into that Call of Duty discussion there for you. But yeah, I agree with you on that. That I don't see I don't see Far Cry New Dawn. I see Far Cry New Dawn being the last for a Far Cry for a little while, at least for at least 2 or 3 years to give the series a break after the events of Far Cry New Dawn. I I see that as well. So what's next on your list at number four, my friend, when it comes to the top video games of 2018?
All right, for number 4, I got Shadow of the Tomb Raider. While I love this game, I did not think that it was a worthy predecessor of Rise of the Tomb Raider. So, did you played these games, right? Have you played any of the series? Okay, so you know what I'm talking about. Did you play Shadow at all?
I didn't play Shadow yet. I'd still love to get a chance to try that out, but yeah, it's hard to replace the actual magic of the reinvigoration of the series with the original Tomb Raider, well, not the original the original Tomb Raider reboot that came out earlier this decade that just wowed everybody and just was such an easy game to get into and such a fun game to play. And you're right. The Rise of the Tomb Raider came out. It was a worthy successor and a very good sequel. Shadow of the Tomb Raider has not been as beloved as the other two previous installments, so I agree with you on that, although it's still probably a very solid game throughout.
Yeah, it's fun. I loved it for sure. My big thing with video games is because we've talked about this. I think video games are an amazing medium for storytelling because you can immerse people into a story in a way that books and movies can't, you know. So, with Tomb Raider and Rise of the Tomb Raider, those were both very, very great and immersive and engaging stories. Whereas it all built up to something, and you're expecting this big epic outcome in Shadow of the Tomb Raider, but then they kind of sold themselves short with the whole Mayan apocalypse thing because Assassin's Creed has been doing that for years, and that's kind of we get it, the Mayans, the Mayans predicted the end of the world, or maybe they just got to the end of the calendar at 2012. Are like, all right, well, maybe this is good enough. But I don't. There's so much more that I was expecting out of it, and I didn't get that delivered to me. And for that, I'm kind of disappointed. But still, great game. A lot of side quests to do, a lot of extra content, a lot of tombs to explore. You get closure with like Jonah and Laura and stuff like that, and all the stuff that was great about the first two games was there, except for the story. So I'm hoping that we see more from this iteration of Laura Croft further down the line. But I just the it didn't deliver what I wanted it to. So it was good, but it's not great.
And I think, unfortunately, it did fall under the weight of its release time in September because there was a lot of other great games that were released right around that time, and even more so in October and November. We stopped hearing about it long time before November was reached, and that's unfortunate for such a great series of games. We don't know what's going to happen with the future of Tomb Raider because of the lack of success of Shadow of the Tomb Raider. So we'll have to wait and see. I think overall it got decent to marginally good reviews across the board, but unfortunately, it was not as good as the previous two installments. and with declining values of that, not only with scores, but also as well with dollar amounts, which is obviously the biggest and most important thing. It's now a very tenuous time at Square Enix when it comes to Crystal Dynamics and their future when it comes to what's going on with the Tomb Raider franchise, because they're heading into a different direction themselves, because I believe they're going to go ahead and work on that new Marvel game that's in development, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, that's what the rumors are, but that's been the rumors for the past, what, 5 years since they showed us that trailer after, the release of Age of Ultron.
Absolutely. So we'll wait and see on that one. But yeah, for now, Tomb Raider might be put to bed. But we'll go from there with really two very good games in the series and one pretty good one as well when it comes to Shadow of the Tomb Raider. So what's your number three, my friend, on your list of video games for 2018?
I got Forza Horizon 4 on here. As you know, I'm a huge Forza fan. I've played all of them, so this is one game that I do not miss out on each year. They skip between Forza and Forza Horizon. Forza Horizon 4 is cool because it is, it's not just the dynamic seasons are cool because there's, they talked about how it goes from summer to fall to winter to spring and all that, and there's different events, incorporated for each season, so that's cool, and they do all that, and you do have to figure out, what car do I want to drive in the snow? What's going to make my life easier here? I need to get all the stunt gates, but I can't do that in a Ferrari, in the middle of winter, so they definitely, make you kind of strategize what you're going to be using, what you're gonna be driving around during each season, and they've got a it's a pretty beefy game, there's a lot on there, there's a lot of events, a lot of different story modes to go through, and I think there's an expansion coming out soon, or if it might already be out, but, it's, yeah, and the Halo showcase was fun, like, there's a lot to the game, and I love it looks so real, and the open world setting is so cool, and you can play with your friends. You get all those radio stations you can choose from. There's a lot in that game, like, I got it with Games Pass, but it gave me a good 60 hours of gameplay, and a few after that I played with some friends, so definitely a great game, and if rumors of Playground Games being in charge of the next Fable game are true, if you look at the open world setting in Forza Horizon 4, I definitely think that the Fable franchise is in good hands. Have you gotten a chance though to play Forza Horizon?
No, not as of yet. I've seen quite a bit of footage, and I've also seen quite a bit of footage when it was at E3, and then when we were at various stuff going over through the course of the year. We got to go ahead and check that out. It is an awesomely beautiful game. Obviously, the world is wide open, and from what I've seen, as far as the actual driving is concerned, it is very standard as far as not only from an arcade but also a simulation type feel that tries to have that unique blend of both styles. But I will say that I'm more of a Forza Horizon fan myself as opposed to the Forza Motorsports side. I always thought that the Forza Horizon actually represents a more fun, more arcadey type feel as opposed to the Forza Motorsports, which tries to go ahead and be more of a simulation type format. So your choice on your love for Forza is definitely there, and that's quite understandable because right now there is no driving franchise better out there for the video game marketplace than Forza. And I'll tell you what, that's just that's just the way it is right now. It is Forza and everybody else. So what's your number two list, my no? What's your number two on the list, my friend? Number two on your list of the best video games of 2018.
Winding down here, getting towards number one here in a minute. Number two on my list, I have Assassin's Creed Odyssey. As you know, played the game, loved the game, spent far too many hours in the game, but it was almost a necessity for completing the game. So when I was done, I think I had about 93 hours logged in this game. And keep in mind, like, this is not something I sit down during the day and play. It was something that I spent maybe 2 to 3 hours each night before I went to sleep playing, and there's a lot to unpack in this game. But that being said, Ubisoft did a great job with this one because Origins was kind of their first attempt at incorporating RPG elements as far as leveling up your gear, choosing what stats you want to improve, and all that stuff. And while Origins was fun, it didn't capture me in the way that I hoped it would. The story, I didn't really care about the main character. Uh, and they kind of threw you into the action before really even introducing you to what's going on. So Odyssey did all the things that Origins didn't. And Odyssey is the first time in an Assassin's Creed game I've actually been interested in the characters. And they also brought back the ship combat that was so great in Black Flag. So they've been for forever they've been trying to recapture that magic because Black Flag had this amazing naval combat mode and they've been trying forever to recapture that. And with this one, it's not there's no cannons, but there's the arrow volleys. It all has such a smooth feel to it and it reminded me of Black Flag. But I digress. Back to the actual game. This was the first time in any Assassin's Creed game where I actually care about the characters. I want to do the side quests, and they make it so if you do the side quest, it helps you progress in the three main storylines you have to finish throughout the game. And it's they return to the present too, so you kind of see what Layla's been doing since Origins, and there's a lot. Like it's such a great game. They let you pick. You can do romances. You can pick what kind of dialogue you do. You got to be careful though because there's a lot of they don't really the one thing I complaint I have is they don't tell you what is going to be a bad choice for dialogue. You know how in Mass Effect they have different colors showing you like what the different outcomes could be when you say something? In this game, they didn't really have that. They just had like a heart or a knife by it, and that shows like, you could either flirt with them or you could kill them, and the other 2 options, they didn't really show you what they did. So
So there's no like flirt kill right there, right in the middle.
no, you can't have, blood, death, romances, and it's weird because, like, there's not a lot of if you play as Alexios, there's not a lot of, like, male to female romances, there's a lot of opportunities for some dude on dude action, and I hear that's good if you play as the sister, but, uh, apparently through romances, you get better equipment and better perks from the people you do the side quests for, so it's kind of a weird mechanic to me, but it was fun. The characters are engaging. Some of the side quests are super funny, and you really have to. They get dark really quick too. Like there's this one where this guy's trying to save his brother before Alexios kills him, and Alexios is like, "All right, I'll give you this opportunity to go try to save him." So he goes up to talk to his brother on the cliff, and the brothers you think they're gonna make up, and all of a sudden the evil brother pushes the good brother off the cliff, and you're like, okay, well, I guess negotiations failed. And do I just Spartan kick that guy off of an entire mountain? It was the raddest moment of gaming I've ever had. Have you had a chance to play this game though?
Not as of yet. I have seen quite a bit of footage, and I will be playing it, but I will be playing it as the female because I heard it is to your advantage, like you said. But it also is because of the fact that the acting, the voice acting per se, is much better when you listen to it from the free female protagonist as opposed to the male protagonist.
It's funny because the male protagonist is Teddy from Maze. He's the the maniacal Russian teddy bear. So when I first started listening to Alexios talk, I started laughing. But yeah, man, it's definitely fun. You can pick it up this week actually if you want to on the Microsoft Store for $30.
There you go. There you go. I heard it somewhere where if you stream it, somebody will provide it for you free. I heard that rumor going around when I think was when I was at
Is
the
it
HyperX studio.
Google?
Huh?
Didn't Google have something going on where they let you can stream it onto like a Chromebook or something?
Yeah, yeah. I think that was the case. But anyways, I digress. That is actually, like you said, a very good open world game. It's actually putting the Assassin's Creed series back in the forefront. We were kind of worried about what direction it was going, and maybe it was time for them to take a break. But it looks like they're going to be sticking around with more content for this going forward, and I think it's now heading back into a right direction. Maybe they should take a year off, like I believe they said they were going to do so that hopefully in 2020 they'll come back strong with another great iteration of Assassin's Creed. My number two, just want to let you know, to let everyone out there know, my number two is Red Dead Redemption 2. Just a very, very excellent sequel to, well, actually, it's a prequel per se to Red Dead Redemption. It's a very, you don't have to have played through Red Dead Redemption to enjoy this game. Red Dead Redemption 2 is certainly a very awesome open world adventure. A lot of stuff to do, a lot of stuff to go out and get. A lot of great storyline as far as to go through that if you really want to go ahead and enjoy yourself and immerse yourself in the what the old west as it was winding down in the late 1800s. I'll tell you what, there's no better place to go than to play a few hours of Red Dead Redemption 2. I cannot wait for the online platform to really get going and that becoming really something standard that people want to go to time and time again. Like the GTA 5 world out there has been so supportive, and that community has been so awesome to deal with. So I'm looking forward to more events and more time spent in Red Dead Redemption 2, which is my number two of the year. All right, my friend. I think our number one is going to be the same, but I got to hear from you, my friend. What is your number one video game of 2018?
Dun, 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 dun. God of War, man. I've never been blown away by a game like I have with God of War. And keep in mind that God of War's been around for a long time. And while the other entries were fun, they're very linear. Kratos is a very one-dimensional character. He grunts, sleeps with women on boats, and chops up monsters. So not a lot of depth to that. It was fun, had a good soundtrack, but geez, they really just rebuilt this game from the ground up with this new God of War game. Soundtrack is amazing, and it's so emotional. The moment that you're thrown into the game, you're trying to find wood for the mom's funeral pyre. Kratos has this son he doesn't know what to do with, and it's a game about being a father as much as it is a game about trying to travel through Norse mythology and all that. So it's a very sad game. It's incredibly sad, but it's also very interesting. Like you get a lot of history. You see Kratos develop in a way that he's never developed before. They set it up for another game. And it's just such an interesting and I don't want to say vast, but it's more the world is more open, and you do want to go explore everything. The characters all the characters are interesting, and just this world that they've built and the world that they're building towards. Like Corey Barlog, he said that there are plans for like 3 or 4 more God of War games to complete this arc of it, and I am super excited about it. And it's no, I'm so glad to see that this game won Game of the Year as well as the soundtrack, because everything about this game is absolutely amazing. I could talk about it for hours, and I do at some point want to go back and play the game plus mode just because I absolutely fell in love with this game. What are your thoughts though? Did you play it from start to finish?
Not quite as of yet, but I have delved into it, and I just it's a great game. It's from beginning to from whatever from all the times from all the moments I've played it to all the moments I've seen, watched, and streamed, and I've seen your stuff that's out there. It just is a great experience and reminds me so much of the Uncharted series as far as the immersion factor, the storytelling factor, and it reminds me of the play style, the way where you just go ahead and just immerse yourself within the story, and it's story first, and telling the story, completing the narrative, and then looping everything around that narrative, which to me is very important, and that's why I have embraced the Uncharted series so much, which I think is also the why I embraced this version of God of War so much more than the previous iterations. And I can't blame you a bit. It is my number one choice as well.
Yes, yes. So, yeah, I don't know, man. There's not like God of War was the first game I played in a long time that I don't have any complaints about. So, good work, and you do see why Sony is more known for their cinematic experiences with video games, and I totally get why it takes so long to put something like that out. I just wish they had more releases coming out faster.
Well, that's our list of the top video games of 2018. If you have some choices are yourself out there, or if you agree with what we're saying, or if you don't agree with what we're talking about when it comes to the best video games of 2018, share us your thoughts. Popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Also, as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanica Media, and Game Source on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. Well, when we come back, Haas from the Voice from the Underground shares his top 5 moments in pop culture in 2018. And then after that, we'll be talking some Holmes and Watson. What's going on with that now that it's out in the wild? Why is everybody why is everybody in an uproar over Holmes and Watson and how bad it may be? We're going to share our thoughts on that at the end of the show. This is the PCC Multiverse. And we're back to close out the show. This is the PCC Multiverse. Once again, to tell everyone out there, if you have a chance and you want to check out exactly where our shows are being played on, because we're being played on radio stations all around the world, 7 days a week, somewhere it's going to be played, our show, each and every day of the week. We truly cannot thank enough those radio stations that do it. You can check out our entire listing of radio shows on our Pop Culture Cosmos Facebook page, and you'll also get a chance to check out many of the podcast options as well. My friend, you've got a great thing going on with Humanica Media. I know you had a couple episodes that you just recently released out into the wild. So share us your thoughts on those releases, because I know you guys are taking a break, but your friends at Humanica Media.
Yeah, we did a topic apocalypse last week that I finally put up yesterday, but it was a Christmas movie episode. We're talking about Christmas movies, what qualifies as a Christmas movie, what are some of the ones that we like, some of the ones we hate. Just a nice little holiday discussion, you know what I mean?
Die
And
hard. Die hard.
it's funny that there's actually a movement around people saying how unintelligent people who argue about Die Hard is, and I think that's just kind of like the hipster generation going, "I thought it was cool first," and them just lashing out at something that they think was stolen from them, much like coffee and craft beer.
Well, they need to listen to they need to listen to the episode 99 of the PCC Multiverse, and they'll hear our entire thoughts on what the best Christmas movies are, including Die Hard.
Yes, yes, agreed. So check that out. It's on Podbean, iTunes, and all the usual suspects. And you can check out our back catalog of shows too. We'll be back in the new year with some new content coming out. We're currently planning some stuff right now. It's gonna be pretty good. So yeah, just keep following us on Facebook and check out all the good stuff coming your way.
And I just want to mention that I got a chance to go ahead and deliver a lot of toys today or this week to the UMC Children's Hospital in Nevada, because of the gracious and the awesome help that we received here at the Pop Culture Cosmos from all those people involved, including everyone out there who contributed from to our Retro City Games charity game night and through that whole toy drive. I cannot thank you enough for making those generous donations. We donated over $200 in gift cards and probably about another $300-400 in toys alone, new toys, to the UMC Children's Hospital this week. So I'm just truly cannot thank you enough for taking the time to go ahead and donate to such a worthy cause. And also, first off, to Salvador Villa, Jamie Monroy, to you, Josh, for thinking this all up and bringing that idea out, the guys from Hyperschmidt, True Die, Chris Valenta, aka Vedius, the guys from Game Source, Go Brothers Gaming, the guys that came out from Humanica Media to our charity game night, all the way from California, Rob McCallum Films for Rob McCallum. Just thank you so much for providing those Blu-rays, those DVDs. Vitabrace from Miracle Fruit Oil. Just cannot thank you enough, and the guys and gals from Miracle Fruit Oil for donating all those wonderful presents, wonderful prizes that were available when it comes to Vitabrace and all those great gaming bracelets, and making them available out there for our holiday charity game night. Go Brothers Gaming, Mario Party Wars, Game Source. Cannot thank enough for all their help in the tournaments, because it all came to fruition in a great way with a lot of great charities involved. And in 2019, I'm going to go ahead and arrange for all the canned food and also the monetary donations to those charities, such as Make-A-Wish of Southern Nevada and also Three Square, trying to arrange those donations as well to give them their stuff that was donated to them here in early 2019. So I'm looking forward to doing that. Cannot thank everyone for taking the time to do so, and appreciate everyone out there generously giving this holiday. Well, before we head on out, my friend, we got to talk some Holmes and Watson. It did release along with Vice nationwide, and unfortunately, there was no real great reception for Holmes and Watson. It did earn $6 million in its first day of release, which is, I guess, okay, but not compared to Aquaman, which did 22 million in its Christmas holiday. So I'll tell you what, my friend, the reason why everybody's in uproar over it, because it was not screened to critics, and there's a good reason why, is because the film the critics actually had to go out and see this in the theaters. Oh, boo hoo, boo hoo! But those that did go and make it out to the theaters were commenting on what a bad film this is. So you could tell the reason why they didn't screen it up front for critics was that it was just going to get lambasted. So, you know what? They're getting what they deserve right now. And I don't see a long future for this in the theaters. My question to you on this is, with Holmes and Watson being so bad and actually having, at this point in time of our recording, a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, do you see a future where maybe a Step Brothers 2 or some type Talladega Nights 2 or something down the road that maybe John C. Riley and Will Ferrell can work on again together and maybe try to recapture that spirit that they obviously didn't have in Holmes and Watson.
Maybe, but honestly, I hope not, man. I'm so tired of Will Ferrell movies, and I hate they're just when you're they only really appeal to a certain age demographic. You know, if you're in high school and you're still wrapped up in in that time of your life, like that they pretty much in their movies they are pretty much 16-year-olds. So if you're in that era, that's people like that. But people don't have money to go see movies anymore, so you're not going to get a lot of kids like that into the movie theaters to see things like that. Well, I would love to see a sequel to Old School. Absolutely love that movie. Will Ferrell was actually tolerable in that movie. I'm not a big Will Ferrell fan, and I think that his movies are, while they're funny, they're just they he tries too hard in them. And like Anchorman 2 was bad. I can't remember a Will Ferrell movie that I actually enjoyed besides Old School. So I might not be the right person to ask about this, but I did predict that Holmes and Watson would bomb at the box office, and I was right. So you guys can all write this down, take notes. This might be on a future podcast called Josh is Right. We'll see if we can get that rolling into production soon. But yeah, I don't have any interest in seeing it. And if they didn't let critics see it, they probably knew that it was bad, but it's probably already made, so they didn't want to, put that money to waste. What are your thoughts though? You have any plans of going to see this box office bomb?
No, not in the theaters. I may actually see it when it hits TV. I'm not even going to probably stream it. So I think at this point in time, it's probably just for me something I'll probably see and catch maybe if it hits FX or TNT or something like that here within what I think it's what a 2 year time frame. So maybe I'll spend some time, and if I have, if I'm cooking or something, I can go ahead and I go catch it on the TV or whatnot, maybe in the background. But yeah, unfortunately, it just looks like that type of shtick for Will Ferrell and John C. Riley didn't mesh, which is kind of weird. John C. Riley's been doing very good. He obviously did very well with Wreck-It Ralph, and he's got Stan and Ollie, which conveniently came out just a day or two after, as far as in release, the I guess semi autobiographical autobiography autobiography of the lives of Laurel and Hardy, Stan and Ollie, which John C. Riley with Steve Coogan, who happens to be actually in Holmes and Watson as well, is actually a lot better than Holmes and Watson. So it's kind of weird how that plays out. And actually, John C. Riley has gotten a lot of acclaim for Sisters Brothers as well. So this is the duet that actually, of all of them, he's getting the least acclaim for, and it's probably just going to disappear along with Welcome to Marwen, which also tanked at the theaters, and Vice, which may have some legs to it if it gets a lot more awards, but a C plus cinema score for a potential Oscar hopeful is kind of weird because it seems like there's a disconnect when it comes to Vice. When it comes to the actual what the critics think and what the crowd and what the regular audience out there thinks. What do you think about that when it comes to Vice getting a C plus cinema score, which actually is really not good at all?
I don't know because everyone was expecting big things from that movie, and from what I understand, like a lot of casual moviegoers are expressing interest in going to see it. So I don't know, man. Like it's politically charged, so you'd think that would. Here's my theory. Okay, I don't think that people want to go see movies like that anymore. I know they want to watch them when they come out on Redbox, rent them when they hit on demand, but I don't think there's a big call to go see those movies out in theaters and movies like that in theaters anymore. I could be wrong, but I'm just speaking to my demographic. But I'm hearing great things about this movie though from people who have seen it. So maybe it's just the holidays was just not a good time for it to come out. Maybe there's because there's too many other movies out there to see. So that might be an issue too. Might be the same issue with Welcome to Morrowind, which was a did I say that right?
Marwin.
Morrowind. I keep thinking about the video game. Yeah, there's just I don't think Christmas is a great time for these emotional dramatic movies. I think Christmas is a time for movies that are kids movies, The Grinch, Fantastic Beasts, Where to Find Them, stuff like that. So maybe if those movies had come out in like February or March, that they might do better. But let's not forget that a lot of movies that get nominated for awards don't do well in the box office.
This is true, my friend. This is true. But you know what? For Holmes and Watson, it doesn't look like a very good future. Let's hope. Well, I know you don't hope, but let's hope that if it does come together for another reuniting of John C. Riley and Will Ferrell, let's just hope it's a lot better. It's a lot better the next time around. What are your thoughts on Holmes and Watson out there? Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Also, share us your thoughts on Vice because that is still getting a lot of interplay out there as a potential Oscar hopeful. But the cinema score as a C plus was really not that good at all. So that shows a disconnect between general audiences and critics. We want to hear your thoughts on that as well. Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook, Instagram, excuse me, Game Source, Humanica Media, Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram as well. My friend, it's been another great episode. 100 episodes of the PCC Multiverse. How about that, my friend, with your last thoughts on the way out?
Well, we broke the triple digits with both the PCC and the PCC Multiverse. So just shows that we've been doing the show for a long time and it's been growing. I see the numbers going up every week. And, thank you to everyone who's been tuning in. It's been fun and we hope to continue doing this further down the line. But we'd also love your support. So be sure to follow us on social media, do the miracle fruit oil thing. Any interaction you want to send us an email, you want to talk about how you want to say some stuff that you disagree with Gerald about, feel free to send him an email at popculturecosmos@gmail.com. He may or may not answer it, who knows? But we'd love if you guys got involved with the show, so feel free to give us a shout out.
You noticed you just said me, not if they disagree with you.
I'm never wrong, especially about things like King Arthur.
Let's not start. Let's not start. So for Josh Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here for the 100th edition of the PCC Multiverse. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great day. And thank you for those who are watching. We are going to be recording our best movies of the year coming up. So we're going to be doing another round if Josh stays conscious or not. So if you want to hang around, we're going to be putting that up here in a little bit. Thanks for watching.